Hey Canucks fans, it is Sunday. That means it's time for another edition of Ask Me Anything. I'm Clay Emo. I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, October the 4th. This is where you get Canucks insight that's positive and timely. Yes, it's Sunday. That means two regular features of this channel. Right now, I'm doing my weekly Ask Me Anything vlog. And tonight, I'll be jumping onto YouTube for my weekly live stream, 10 p.m. Pacific time. So I hope you can join me tonight. We can talk about Canucks, we can talk about the NHL, talk about COVID, talk about Stanley Cup, talk about whatever you want to talk about. So make sure you join me tonight at 10 p.m. right here on YouTube. Okay, got some pretty cool questions today, actually. Some hockey related ones, some non-hockey related ones. So I want to get into these right away. And like I said, a regular Sunday afternoon feature of this YouTube channel. In terms of Canucks news, by the way, before I get started, no news still. A lot of rumors about Oliver Ekman-Larsson this week. Still talks with Jacob Markstrom, which I'll get to in a second. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some things to talk about this week, especially as we're starting to see a few more signings and trades happen throughout the league as they lead up to Draft Tuesday, Wednesday, and of course, Free Agency Day opening up on Friday. So here we go. First one is from my buddy Braden Ursel on Twitter. He's BK Ursel 23, and he says, "What are your thoughts on Juolevi and Rathbone? Who do you think has a better chance of making the team next season?" Great question, Braden. Hope you're doing well as well. You know, it's interesting. If you asked me this 6 months ago, I would have said Olli Juolevi for sure, that I expect him to have a better chance of making the team. But as I learn more about Rathbone and as I watch more of his highlights, I'm excited for him as well. And yes, Juolevi got a chance to play with the team, travel with the team at the start of his bubble experience and basically get into one game against Minnesota. Played well, 6 minutes in sheltered minutes, but still handled himself well. I thought he was good, but I'm actually, if I had to pick one, I would be more intrigued with Jack Rathbone actually, because I think he brings a bit more offensively. He's a tiny bit more aggressive, and he's a tiny bit better skater. Now, Juolevi is an excellent passer, and Juolevi is probably a better defender, which you'd think you want in a defenseman. But I think overall, I'm more intrigued by Rathbone. But the question wasn't who am I more intrigued with, it's what are your thoughts on them? Who do you think has a better chance? Yeah, it might be interesting because they could be battling for the same spot, that third pairing spot behind Quinn Hughes and Alex Edler on the left side. I have a feeling that Jack Rathbone will actually make the team before Juolevi. Actually, I think both of them could make the team, depending what happens on the right side. You could have Juolevi as the 7th, and then Rathbone as the 6th, or vice versa. You know, Juolevi as the third pairing guy, and Rathbone as the 7th. We don't know what's going to happen with Utica and the AHL. So I'm going to say Rathbone by a hair has a better chance of making the team, but I would not be surprised if it's Juolevi. And I'm excited for both of them. I don't think Juolevi's a bust, draft bust yet. You know, we want to see something pretty soon, but defensemen do take longer to develop. So I'm excited to see both of them in the Canucks lineup for years to come. Thanks for your question, Braden. Laura, another friend of mine from Twitter at Canucks181 says this: "I know the Canucks can't sign everybody since we don't have the money. So who do you think are the most important pieces?" So I'm going to answer this in two parts, Laura. I'm going to talk about who I think is most important, but then I'm also going to talk about what I think is going to happen. In terms of importance, I think it's actually Markstrom, Tanev, Toffoli, Mott, Stetcher, Virtanen, and then it kind of goes from there. There's guys like Levo, Gaudette, we know they're going to re-sign him, Zach McEwen, you know, Oscar Fantenberg and Louis Domingue. Those make up the 11 players. But I definitely think Markey's the most important, given he's a two-time MVP, given how much he bailed the team out, and just how steady he was. He was the main reason why they finished as high as the standings as they did. Chris Tanev, a solid defense partner for Quinn Hughes, and a top 4 guy, all, you know, even strength and penalty killer warrior. And Tyler Toffoli brought a lot of offense to us when we needed it, especially when Besser went down. So I think in order of importance, it goes Markey, Tanev, Toffoli. But what I think is going to happen is a little different. I actually think, I think there's a scenario where you don't sign Jacob Markstrom. Now, a lot of people would say, "Oh, Clay, that's crazy. Thatcher Demko, it's only a small sample size," which I agree with all of that, but it's got to make sense money-wise. And if the no movement thing becomes a big stumbling point, you know, Robin Lehner's kind of set the bar at $5 million, so is Markstrom going to want $5.5, $6 million? Does it make sense for the Canucks to do that? It sounds like it does. So lending, I guess, confirmation to my thought that Markstrom is the most important piece. But I would not be surprised if he walks. I would not be surprised if Tanev walks either, especially if the Canucks think they can get younger and just as good defensively on the right side. So that means I actually would love to see Toffoli come back. don't get me wrong, I would be fine if Markstrom and Tanev came back. But from a money perspective, resource allocation, I would be fine if it's Toffoli that comes back for the top 6. If Stetcher comes back, especially if you lose Tanev, and of course Tyler Mott as well, and then Josh Levo, a smaller piece. You know, he doesn't have a lot of bargaining power since he got hurt. And then I do think that Jake Virtanen is on his way out, whether that's trading his rights or simply not giving him a qualifying offer. So to answer your question, Laura, who are the most important pieces? It's Markstrom, Tanev, Toffoli. What do I want/think to happen? I would go Toffoli and Stetcher and say bye to Markstrom and Tanev. But maybe I'm being a bit foolish there, given how much Travis Green, I'm sure, loves both of those players. All right, the Tao of Oat, which is Tao backwards, at the Tao of Oat, asks 4 questions. Godzilla, Mothra, or King Ghidorah? I haven't watched a Godzilla movie in a long time, but I know that the other guys are like nemesis of Godzilla, but I gotta go with the hero. I did grow up watching Godzilla movies. Grow up though, that was like 30 years ago. So I'll go with Godzilla out of those 3. Second question is, were any of your grandparents affected by the Japanese internment in the flag of Canada? Yes. Actually, my family used to live in Steveston, and they got interned to Greenwood. So they were up in the interior of BC. My dad and his siblings and his parents, they were indeed interned from Steveston to the interior of BC. Great question. Number 3 is Holy, your next parody song. There's not much to parody right now, given that there's no Canucks. And so, yes, I learned how to play it as I tweeted about it last night. It's only a 4-chord song, so musicians out there will appreciate that. It's not that hard. It's in a weird key though. It's in I think it's in G flat or F sharp, which is always a little more tricky. Well, it's all black keys. But yes, Holy, I did learn how to play it by Bieber and Chance the Rapper, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna parody it for anything. And then if the Canucks could have one flag of Canada, oh, sorry. I just realized because I copied this from Twitter, he didn't, Tao of Oat didn't type out flag of Canada. That was the emoji. So the first question was, were any of your grandparents affected by the Japanese internment in Canada, not in flag of Canada? And the answer is yes. And if the Canucks could have any Canadian-born player free of charge or restrictions, who would you pick? Well, obviously that's Connor McDavid to me right now, because probably the best player in the game. 5 years ago, I would have said Sidney Crosby, also the best player in the game at that time as a Canadian. But without a shadow of a doubt, I would say Connor McDavid. And I think we'd figure out how to put Connor McDavid on this team, whether you move Pettersson to the wing. Can you imagine McDavid and Pettersson on the same line? Oh, and you keep Horvat in the middle in the second, or do you have a 1-2-3 punch of McDavid, Pettersson, and Horvat? No, I want Horvat to get more minutes than that. I would put Pettersson on the wing. Can you imagine like a Besser, Pettersson, or a Miller, Pettersson, McDavid line? That would be absolutely nuts. So Connor McDavid with no hesitation there. Now we move over to YouTube for the last 2. Maestro says, do you think the Canucks will play at the Pacific Coliseum? Maybe exhibition game? No, I don't think so, Maestro. They've had opportunities to do so ever since they moved out of there, and I don't know if they've actually gone back since. Ice surface, obviously it's fine. It's the crowds. But if we're talking about no crowds in the arena, maybe. But there's no need for them to go to Pacific Coliseum. There's no need for them to try and get the East Vancouver crowd already. So no, I don't see that happening. It might be cool for nostalgia's sake, but I don't see that happening. And then Patrick Starr says this, kind of weird one to end with. Which would you rather fight, 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Again, which would you rather fight, 1 horse-sized duck and 100 duck-sized horses? Now, admittedly, I was going to say 1 horse-sized duck because I was afraid that the 100 duck-sized horses would be nipping at my feet and they would swarm me. But then the more I thought about it, and after I talked to my son, Sean, no, I think a horse-sized duck would be very interesting because obviously it's big, a horse is massive. And then, I don't know if the duck's bill would make it hard for me to attack the duck and then be all slimy and stuff like that. Although I just don't know how fast a horse-sized duck would be. Whereas opposed to 100 duck-sized horses, Sean mentioned that I could try and kick each of them individually and at least buy some time that way. Regardless, I got scared thinking of both options, but Patrick, thank you for that very unique question. So there we go. Some questions about Juolevi, Rathbone, about our free agents this year, about Godzilla, about music, and about the Pacific Coliseum, and about crazy fictional animals attacking me. So I hope you enjoyed that quick version of Ask Me Anything, and I hope that you join me tonight at 10 p.m. for my weekly YouTube live stream. No real question of the day. Usually on these Ask Me Anything vlogs, I don't have a question of the day because you're already asking me questions and I'm already answering them. But maybe we can talk about Juolevi and Rathbone. Maybe that's a good one. Is is between Olli Juolevi and Jack Rathbone. Let's throw Braden's question out to you. Is who do you expect to have a better chance of making the team next season? Leave a comment below. I love to read, react, and reply as always. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.